Now, Andrew Jaspan is a former editor of The Age and is now the editor of the Conversation website and joins me now from Melbourne. Andrew Jaspan, a huge day in broadsheet history and a sad one for those who've been involved over the years.
Yes, undoubtedly, it's a momentous day, but frankly, this paper, which I have here, is called Fairfax for the Future. This plan is, frankly, about 5 to 10 years too late. And I worry if it's too late, frankly, for the future of Fairfax. I think the real issue here is the way that the Age and the Sydney Morning Herald, the mastheads of Fairfax, have been managed over the last, say, 20 years. They've not been run by people who know what they're doing. They've been run by, essentially, managers who are there to manage the decline of the papers, which means take costs out faster than revenues come down, and try to introduce a digital strategy, which was a separate strategy, a competing strategy. It wasn't a one-company strategy. These proposals, which I outline in the Conversation today, were around 5 years ago in 2007. What they've done for the last 5 years is have two companies competing for advertising, and now, fundamentally, the digital business has won the battle, and the digital business run the newspaper business. And in effect, what's happened over the last few years is that the revenues on the print side have collapsed. And this plan, in many ways, having thought about it, is a reaction to a worsening position, some of which is of their own making.
Was there any way the broadsheets could have survived?
The broadsheets will survive. And when we talk about broadsheets, I was listening to Peter Ryan a moment ago. Again, we've been talking about taking the size of the Age down for some time, and I put a proposal to the then Chief Executive David Kirk, who actually announced that we were going to slim down the size of the Age, more like the size of the European or American broadsheets, which are like the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. The current paper is too big. It's out of date. It was invented 155 years ago. And frankly, it's wrong for the current market. So moving to the compact is long overdue. I welcome that move. However, again, they announced it'll happen in March next year. If this was News Limited running the company in terms of its management, it would happen in 3 months' time. It wouldn't take until March next year. They just move too slowly. Having announced that it's a good idea to go compact, they should go for it quickly and move on.
How long do you give the tabloids, though? You think they are an ongoing concern?
Very much so. I think there'll always be an appetite for print, but print will become a premium product. Let's not forget that the newspapers were invented 150, 175 years ago as what was called the penny press. It was just the cheapest way of distributing information. That cheapest way is now called the internet. However, newspapers, which were then the penny press, will, I think, move to becoming a premium product, which will be more like $3 or $4 a copy. Pretty well on a peg with a cup of coffee, by the way, which is about $3.50 to $4.
Good to see you still doing the sales job. But can it be a premium product with fewer journalists?
Well, first of all, the sales will drop when you go to a premium sale, because there are other ways in which you can source Fairfax content, which is all the mobile and the online platforms. So there will be a print product, and you'll be able to read it with your coffee, but it'll be maybe 50 or 75,000 copies rather than the 150 we have at present.
And you think that will go for another 5 or 10 years at least?
Oh, absolutely. In terms of your second question, with fewer journalists, the answer is yes, you can do it with fewer journalists. And the plan, as I understand it, is to take out about 20% of the current editorial staffing at Fairfax. So about 150 to 200 jobs to go. And the way they're going to do this is, largely speaking, merge the two desks, the Age and Sydney Morning Herald, or they call it nationalising the two desks, which means that you bring together one reporting staff and you'll have a different regional version for Sydney and one for Melbourne. Now, into that, what you have is you actually reduce the number of voices. That means the number of journalists who are actually out there on their rounds reporting and analysing stories. So whereas you might have had, say, 2 education reporters or 2 health reporters, you'll have the one. Now what that means is you've halved the number of voices on the Fairfax papers, and if you add the Australian into that, 3, you've taken out 33% of the voices currently reporting and analysing and doing the watchdog role that the Fourth Estate is meant to do, which is to keep an eye and keep the buggers honest, as we say.
Okay, well, let's hope that continues to happen. Andrew Jaspan, unfortunately, we've got to leave it there, but thanks very much for talking to us.
My pleasure.